Hi, it's Scott. ROCKFILE back with another podcast review for you. Going to talk about the 4K edition of Marvel's WandaVision. In January of 2021, when this series came out, I had Disney Plus at the time. I was really interested in the show, and I absolutely loved it then. I love it even better now. I don't know if you've watched it yet, if you're listening to this review, because you haven't. But I highly suggest watching it and not listening to this review, because I'm going to get into some minor spoilers about what it's about, because we're going to be talking more about the 4K release than the show. I did a review of the show 2 years ago when I first watched it. It was probably posted about March of 2021, if you want to go look that up. For those that don't know, Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany reprised their roles from the last Avengers movie in WandaVision, a show that starts off in black and white sitcoms of the 50s and 60s. As the show goes on, they each week go to different time eras. The show changes, their set changes, and they start realizing that everything may not be what it seems. You're wondering, as a Marvel fan at the beginning, why is she here and why is he here? Because he died in the movie. This takes place after Avengers Endgame and before the last Doctor Strange movie. Led to the Doctor Strange movie. And led to a new series that's coming out in September. We'll talk about that in a minute. So, this is my third Marvel show on hard disk. I got Loki because I really love the show and found a good deal on it. I recently picked up Moon Knight, which was not one I had planned to get, but I found a great deal on it, and rewatching it, it's one of my favorites, and the Steelbook is absolutely beautiful. And then not too long ago, Amazon was having their buy two, get one free sale, and I was able to get WandaVision very cheap. Now, when Disney released all of these, not only the Marvel shows, but the Star Wars shows that are on Disney Plus, all of them got Steelbook releases. In the United States, you can buy them either Blu-ray or 4K, but in the UK, you buy one Steelbook and you get the Blu-rays and the 4K in it, which is normally how movies are packaged here. I don't know what they were doing, maybe to track who bought more of what. I've bought them in 4K so far, so anyway. To me, this is one of the best of the Marvel releases on hard disk because, A, it's a self-contained series. It is 9 30-minute episodes. Yes, Agatha, after all, is kind of the second season, but it's going to be kind of its own thing, too. I like that this is one show, one story, one complete thing. Sure, it relates to Marvel things. You've got Marvel characters from the movies that show up. You even have Evan Peters show up and play a character he played in the Fox version of the X-Men. That was a really confusing episode or two right there, and they played it pretty well, I think. In rewatching this, first, it looks amazing. It's a native 4K transfer. The scenes outside of what's going on in the small town are in super widescreen, 2.40 to 1, which is what most Marvel movies are in. But when they're in like the 50s and 60s, it's 4:3. It's square and black and white. And as it goes into each time frame, each episode the screen gets a little bit bigger until we get full widescreen. This is a show that starts off as a bunch of sitcoms and some weirdness that morphs into a full straight-up Marvel superhero movie by the last 2 episodes. It really goes there. Massive special effects, massive fight scenes, massive destruction. When these shows were coming on Disney Plus in 2001, we had no idea what we were getting. And when it started, it was like, well, this is an interesting experiment. And then by the time you got to the end of it, and you've got, spoiler alert, 2 Visions fighting, it was pretty impressive, special effects-wise. And then you've got, Wanda fighting Agatha and all that kind of stuff. It was really cool. All in all, rewatching it now, everything is set up from the beginning. The little hints they give you of what's going on, they all make sense. There wasn't like they threw something in there to make you wonder, but then it never really paid off. Everything from the first episode. Like, as the first episode ends, they pull back and somebody's watching the episode taking notes. Well, that was probably Kat Denning, but they hadn't introduced her yet. I like everybody they brought into the movie. I like how this connects into the Marvel Universe, and I think Marvel should do more of these things if they're going to do side stories like this. It could have probably supported a movie, but it wouldn't have worked the same. This was the perfect idea, and I understand there were some people at Marvel that didn't think this was a great idea. But of all the Marvel TV shows, this one makes the most sense because, well, in her past, she had a love for old sitcoms. So when her brain was dealing with this trauma of losing vision and everything else that happened, it created this world for her, this world that she had kind of grown up in. That all makes logical sense to me. Matter of fact, a lot of the reasonings behind it, this show is about grief and stuff, but it plays like a sitcom and a superhero story. got to say, it's really well done. And watching it again, I'm glad it's in the collection. It'll be something I pull out every once in a while. When people say they haven't seen it, I mean, what is it? It's less than 5 hours of a show. It's really good. Again, it's a native 4K transfer. It's an incredible Dolby Atmos soundtrack. You've got the HDR, which really, even more than any of the other shows, really shows off. There's a lot of neon colors associated with the magic and the hex, the part that they're trapped in. It just all looks tighter, better, more colorful. The darks, less crush. You can see more details in some of the dark scenes. Really nice. So if you've watched the show, you know that Agatha, kind of a fringe villain in the Marvel Universe, was behind everything that happened in the show. She was kind of using this to try and steal Scarlet Witch's power, Wanda's power. And I like how it ends. I love the ending, actually. I think it actually ended very well for not only it, but to lead into what they led into afterwards. And it'll be interesting to see this Agatha After All TV show that starts in September. Looking forward to that because I think Kathryn Hahn is great in the role. She was kind of a fringe villain to begin with, and they're making her into something bigger. But the Marvel Universe has done that with several characters, making them bigger than they were in their original comic book runs, and sometimes with great success. So I look forward to that. But if you're thinking about picking up WandaVision or watching it for the first time on Disney Plus, I highly recommend it. It's one of the better Disney Plus shows, one of the better Marvel shows. WandaVision. Absolutely loved it. And it looks spectacular and sounds spectacular in 4K. There you go. Simple review. If you want to check out, again, my review of the show, actually, check it out. Just search for WandaVision among my podcasts and it should pop up. I'm Scott. I'm ROCKFILE. More podcasts are on the way, and I've got a little road trip going on this weekend. So if you're friends with me on social media, look for some pictures as well. Thanks for listening. Have a spectacular day.